Wow. So, that was so good. I actually got confused and thought you were just talking all over again rather than hearing the playback.
Yeah, well, we're live, folks. We're live. We're late, but we're live. It's one of those days.
Yep.
One of those days where we're late, but we're live. And we've got all kinds of things happening here. Let's get rid of that. And yeah, sorry, business gets in the way. I had a very important meeting today. We were deciding the purpose of the universe.
We decide whether or not it's the purpose of the universe that is 42 or just the meaning?
Just the meaning.
You sure?
What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? The answer is 40. Oh, no, the question, it's what is the answer to life, the universe, and everything?
Okay.
And then the answer is 42, which is everything. But then when the computer said, well, I don't like that answer. Well, you need to come up with a better question. Or something like that. I have to reread the book. I have to reread the book again. The movie's not all that good. I've watched the movie once or twice, and it's like, yeah, man, they didn't even do the book justice. It was so sad.
No. And also, where did the singing dolphins come from?
They're in the book.
I don't remember singing dolphins.
No, it's at the very beginning of the book. The dolphins were they leave Earth just before it's destroyed, telling them, well, thanks for all the fish.
Huh. I thought they just said it. I didn't realize they sang it.
Well, they didn't sing it. They don't sing it in the book. They just sort of did that for the movie. But no, I guess they did that for the movie. But the dolphins did say that in the book. I don't recall it being sung in the book.
Yeah, I remember them saying it. I don't remember a few songs that happened. It bugs me when songs are added in. Why add songs if it's not like
because
a musical?
They wanted to make it into a musical for some silly reason. I have no idea. It's a really good book. The movie just didn't do it justice.
And not at all. But then again, movies rarely do justice to books.
Yes, it's very rare. Don't ever, if you really like a book, it's rare you'll go watch a movie and find it good. I mean, the closest I've seen in a very long time, actually two things were close in the books and the movies. One was Lord of the Rings, and the other was the Harry Potter stuff. Those were pretty close in both the books and the movies.
Except, Harry Potter one was not as close as people seem to think it is. Did you read the books before you watched the movies?
Yeah, I've read the books. No, it's not as close. They had to dump out a lot of extraneous stuff. But
no, I mean, did you read the books first or did you watch the movies first?
I probably watched the movies first before I read the books.
Well, then that explains why you missed, like in the first movie alone, they removed things that actually lead up to the end of the plot line.
Yes, I know. I've recently reread the books.
It's depressing.
So, but that's the way they deal with movies. Anyway, all right. I think it's fine for our little pre-stream folks. Hopefully everyone here can hear us just fine. And it's time for us to kick a little music and get this show started as late as it is.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill.
we go. Shall we get started?
Yes, we shall.
All right, it is time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
And it is time. Rolling the dice for on 2023 using WordPress. And it's episode 588, and we have plugins for frequent buys, mail catcher, buying free stuff, Freesoul Deactivating. Okay. Editing Elementor, lazy Elementor. Well, okay. And ClassicPress Options, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlook in beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And hey, I'm way ahead of schedule on that one. We are a little bit behind today, but for those of you in the download, you won't even notice the difference. It'll just show up. Only on live, people. You got it really good today. I was stuck in a meeting where we were discussing the life, the universe, and everything with a client. So hey, it's all good. Client meetings can run over sometimes, and that's the way it works. Also, back from our 2-week hiatus, which was supposed to be a vacation, but it turned out me having to clean up a big, giant tree that the wind decided to take down for me. All of that being said, I'm going all over the place, I suppose.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
Mwah.
Welcome to the first live episode of 2023. Rolling the dice with WordPress. And so far, it's been a very interesting and exciting start to the year. Like Dad just said, there was a tree that got knocked down. There's been some major rain, some odd weather. I'm kind of starting to feel like I'm going to need gills soon just so I can breathe outside with all the rain that's coming down. I wonder if anybody else is starting to feel that way.
Mostly here on the wet coast in California.
Well, I mean, if I need to try making some extra money, I guess I could always rent out my front yard as a mud wrestling pit.
Yeah. It would work really well.
So remember, this is a value for value show, meaning any value you find here, offer that same value back. We accept all currencies, including time and talent. Chocolate too. It's always good. Don't skip the end of the show. You might find that there's some kind of amazing life-altering advice down there. You don't want to miss that. And a special note to all of our listeners out there. What do you think about the way our show is flowing these days? Do you have an idea on how we can make it better? Go ahead and share it with us. If you have a question, don't be shy about asking. If you have a question or an idea that will make this show better, don't hesitate to chuck it at us. And, if we can't catch it, we'll just duck and let it fly by. Let's start this show with this week's featured artist.
Absolutely. Here you go. There's the featured artwork this week. We've used this one a couple of times, but it just seemed appropriate for the beginning of the year.
I was just looking at it, but can you share your screen with me? Because already it's run away from my mind.
Oh yeah, okay. Hang on a second here. It's the it's the double dice from Angel Lamu. The Angel Lamu double dice. Where is? Oops, I brought up the wrong image. No, it switched on me. That's what happened. It switched to last week's image. There you go. Double dice.
Endian said, rolling the dice is probably not a good thing to say right now. Hasbro/WOTC just declared war on all gamers.
Well, WOTC World of Warcraft? No,
WOTC.
Yeah, WOTC. What is WOTC? I don't know that one. But Hasbro, well, so much for them to... I don't really care. I don't play games all that much anymore. I'm finding I don't have the time or the oomph to play video games anymore. I'd rather do other things. That's all right.
I'm just picturing little pixelated men fighting each other.
Yeah, well, That's what the games were.
Anyways, I do love this piece of artwork. I
Yeah.
have to say it is one of my favorite ones. I'm glad we're able to bring it back. I'm hoping that we can bring it back over and over. Oh, Wizards of the Coast.
Oh,
those are the guys
that's
who bought
that-
out Dungeons and
that's
Dragons.
well, they've owned Dungeons and Dragons for a long time.
I know, but that's how I know them. They bought out Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons. That's all I know them for.
Yeah, they've done. Yeah, they have declared war on gamers.
Yeah, okay. I know about that part.
People
Yeah.
will be going hunting down. If you got an old D&D manual, version 1 or whatever, way back, those are the ones that people are going to be hunting down again real soon. Going back to the original rules.
Just make sure you're rolling your good dice that get you nat 20s all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one that you got weighted.
Yeah, then you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. All righty.
Well, on to tech news.
Let's move it along.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
All right, so the first thing we have for this week is the WordPress vulnerability report for January 4th, 2023. That's going to take some getting used to, saying 2023.
Yeah, you get used
So
to
it's
it around
rather
February.
stumbly in the beginning of the year.
Yep.
So this is a very long list of plugins that did have vulnerabilities that have been fixed. So be sure to check that list out. You can find the link in our show notes. The list we have for plugins with vulnerabilities this week it's not a super long one, but it's also not a short one. So ones that I most easily recognized are WP limit login attempts, accordion shortcodes, social sharing toolkit, and EU cookie law. So WP limit login attempts and EU cookie law are two that I recognize really well. So if you or your clients use them, check it out. We also have a lot of WordPress themes that have issues that are listed out this week. There's actually a lot of the themes. So the themes are I Drew a Form, King Club theme, Putty Square, Spikes Black, Stratford, Spikes, Club Theme, Sound Blast, and Bolster. So, as I said, be sure to go and check this out. You can find the link in our show notes.
Absolutely.
Next, we have ClassicPress is at a crossroads. The directors are considering reforking WordPress. So we've been talking about ClassicPress and how they've kind of done this wave where they've really gotten themselves together and started rolling forward, and then they just kind of stop and stay stationary for a while. Right now, they're doing a poll for all the ClassicPress users, asking if the poll is for reforking ClassicPress using WordPress 6.0 or continue as is.
Yep.
Trying to figure out what the users actually want to do here.
Yeah, well, I'd read through this article, and I've been catching stuff on my Twitter feed about this. There's been ongoing discussion here and there, little bits and pieces I got. But as someone quoted out somewhere, well, the difference being, 4.9 didn't have a bunch of stuff in it, which is why one reason it was forked at that point. And of course, WordPress continued to advance, and ClassicPress stalled. And they've talked about, well, if you're just talking about forking WordPress at 6 and then removing all the Gutenberg stuff or preventing the Gutenberg from loading and working, it's not much different than loading WordPress 6 and sticking the Classic Editor plugin in there.
Yeah.
It's really and the Classic Editor plugin, it turns out that from what I've seen, the little tidbits I've caught here and there, it doesn't look like it's going to be abandoned after all because too many people are using it. And so it may, in the future, a few more years down the road, WordPress may go, you know what, we're just no longer going to support the Classic Editor period. We're going to remove it from the core code. They may not do that, but at the moment, that's what's happening. But even me and I'm chewing some shoe leather here because I was one of the biggest proponents of ClassicPress and haters of Gutenberg. I'm still not fond of it, but I finally wrapped my head around it and managed to actually create several pages using just Gutenberg. Now, I prefer using Elementor, which Elementor works really well with Gutenberg. So I'm just going to have to back up on some of the things I said, which is something I hate to do, but that's life.
Yeah, I'm still not fond of Gutenberg either. But
this one here, I don't know. I have fear. I'm fearful for I had high hopes for them. They had a good team together. Then they lost several of their really good developers in the beginning. Like I interviewed ClassicPress people in the beginning. You can go back and find the interviews I did with all the different ClassicPress people when it first launched. And I promoted it. I did everything, trying to make it, did my share. But we are just a very small show. We don't have all of the money, dollars, and popularity, which so be it. That's the way it works. But, I said lots of things that I don't overly regret, but I am going to chew back and chew on that shoe leather, pull that foot out of my mouth and stop chewing. So at any rate,
this is why we love you, because you accept it when you deserve the shoe leather.
Yes, well, I'm humble sometimes, maybe, occasionally.
But one of the questions that keeps popping up in various places I've been looking is ClassicPress a pre-WordPress 5.0 or just a WordPress without Gutenberg? A lot of the complaints has been, well, if you fork the 6.0, then it's just going to be press without Gutenberg.
That's all it'll be, is WordPress without Gutenberg.
But at the same time, if they do end up forking 6.0, that will help them to catch up to pretty much everything, to the PHP, to the and like give them the 5.0 compatibility for themes and plugins, and there's a whole bunch of things it would help with. But at the same time, it's one of those flippy floppy things.
It's one of those things. I look at it at that point. There, it's like, well, I may as well just stay with WordPress.
Yeah,
because then I don't have to relearn something or have something that may be buggy. And that is the major issue that's going on right now in the community, so far as I can tell. Yep.
They don't want to have anything above 4.9 because they want to keep it as is.
Yeah.
But they do need to have it kind of caught up in a bunch of ways.
Yes, they need a team again. And they don't have a team anymore. So, at any rate,
they need a team that runs on caffeine and chocolate.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what WordPress team runs on, I think.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's enough of that one. We'll just, we'll keep our ear to the ground. We may have to drop ClassicPress from our moniker if ClassicPress shuts its doors. So we'll try to hang in there as long as we can, and we'll promote anything that people using ClassicPress bring us. We will promote it. I may experiment with it again when I have extra time. Not that I've had a lot of that in the last 3 years. So it is what it is.
Well, the next thing I have here, I was actually surprised to find this on the WordPress. Linux backdoor malware targets WordPress sites with outdated, vulnerable themes and plugins. So, researchers at Dr. Web have discovered some seriously misbehaving malware from a Linux program. This malware is targeting outdated and vulnerable themes and plugins. It works by injecting JavaScript into said plugins and themes, giving them the ability to resell traffic or arbitrage, which I don't even know what that word means.
Arbitrage is where you buy something low and sell it back high.
Ah, okay. There is a major worry, though, that the script is giving these guys a long-term ability to have administrative access, even after users have updated the plugins and themes. So they seem to have 2 versions running on a couple of servers right now. Version 1 targets plugins like WP GDPR compliance, Easy SMTP, WP Live Chat, and more. And version 2, which seems to be on a different server according to Dr. Web, is targeting plugins like FV Flow Player Video Player, Brizzy Page Builder, WooCommerce, and more.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so there's some serious issues going on with this. They don't really touch on how to fix it if you do have that backdoor. They don't talk about anything about this, really. They just tell you what's going on. It seems to be something that's still in the works. Things have been patched, but I don't know. If you're worried about the backdoor, could you delete it and reinstall it? Would that remove any backdoor that
maybe
you have?
it's hard to just updating to the latest code closes the backdoor.
But that's what they're saying is it doesn't seem to always be closing that back door.
Okay, well they found something that has not been exposed yet, and it hasn't been notified to the Linux community, as far as I know, on servers. So it could be a server issue, or it could be something else. I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig into that one. We'll see what I can find.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it again next week and let people know.
All right.
Next, I have Awesome Motive acquires Duplicator plugin. So this is a plugin that we use, or that we have worked with a lot. So the creators of the plugin are relinquishing control in order to pursue other endeavors, but the rest of the team is going to continue working under Awesome Motive. And from what I can tell, the creators sold Duplicator to Awesome Motive with some caveats. They have a wish list about how they expect the plugin to go, and Awesome Motive has agreed to follow this wish list. So hopefully this plugin will just pretty much stay the same, have the same kind of spirit to it.
Yeah. Well, good luck. This is
I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
It's a cool idea, but it's it's theory and practice, man.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Have to see what happens with this one over the next several months.
This next one, WordPress.com launches newsletter project. So I was kind of interested to read this. In this article, they talk about how the newsletter themes and newsletter style sites are becoming pretty big right now. And I didn't even know that there were sites that were just a newsletter site. I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. And WordPress has created their own theme for creating a newsletter.
Cool.
Yeah, so they created it's a new product from WordPress for creating, personalizing, and sending out emails from your WordPress site.
Mm-hmm.
They apparently adjusted this to go with Gutenberg. So for those who want to have a newsletter site, rather than an additional newsletter, like an additional newsletter plugin to send to, like, you have to go into MailChimp and all these things, you can just have this on your site and send your stuff out, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Could be useful. Yeah.
Next up, we have commercial and community categorization. Apparently my tongue doesn't like that word today. Is live on WordPress.org theme and plugins. So one of the things mentioned at State of the Word this last year was an addition of new taxonomies for the themes and plugin directories in order to help users more easily search through them. Both community and commercial designations have been made live as of a couple of weeks ago, though it seems the new classifications have not fully caught on. There is apparently a much broader version of these classifications coming down the pike to be added into WordPress.org. It should be interesting to see what new classifications are decided on, which ones are made live. So far, the current new classifications, people are just kind of avoiding them and not using them. It seems that it's the creators who choose where it goes when they make it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the new classifications aren't really helping much. I don't know if it's going to be useful, these new classifications. What do you think?
Maybe. It may be useful. I won't know until I see it.
And next up, we have Block Protocol announces new WordPress plugin coming in 2023. So I don't know if you've heard of Block Protocol.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Block Protocol is a project that was launched earlier in 2022 with the goal of building a universal block system. Sometime soon, they will be announcing their new WordPress plugin that will allow users to embed interactive blocks compatible with Gutenberg. This should be an interesting development, although I'm kind of wondering what the consequences of having globally accepted blocks through a plugin will be, because what happens when they patch something or update something to keep up with one platform, What happens to all the other platforms that they are now connected to? How will changing something for one platform affect another platform?
Hard to say. Won't know until they put it in action.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in the idea. I'd love to see how they work around that, but I'm also wondering like if that will even be an issue. I don't know.
Hard to say.
WordCamp Europe 2023 speaker applications open. Organizers calling for more interactive sessions. The WordCamp Europe 2023 is being hosted in Athens with 2 conference days planned for June 9th and 10th. First day's theme is WordPress Now, meaning everything that can currently be achieved with WordPress. And the second day's theme is WordPress Tomorrow. They don't give a meaning, but I suppose the idea is to bring forth items and ideas for what might be the future of what WordPress can do. Organizers are calling for speakers with an emphasis on empowering people to feel more comfortable using WordPress. So they are specifically looking for new voices and perspectives. You can check out our show notes to find the link and sign up if you think that's something you're interested in joining.
Yep.
Just reading Hemdian's note
Yeah,
here.
I was reading his notes on arbitrage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had it slightly right. I've never actually played it. I know bits about it in the stock market, and I've just never done it because it's risky.
Well, so that our audio only listeners can understand, arbitrage is simultaneously buying 2 or more things to offset the risks of one thing against another. It's commonly done in stock market trades. Sports arbitrage is where you bet on a sports game, place a bet for a team to win with one bookie, and another bet for the same team to lose with a different bookie where the odds are slightly different. If done right, win or lose, you'll make slightly more than the cost of all your bets combined. You exploit the time delay between bookies syncing their odds.
Yep.
Cool.
Professional gamblers use that. All right, last one.
Last one I have here is how to live off the grid as a techie.
Get
So I
space
thought
internet.
Pardon?
Space internet.
I thought this was actually kind of cool. The information that they talk about here is all based off of this regen eco villages that are popping up all over the Netherlands. But the information that you get here, it goes through the various ways you can give yourself electricity, save heat by doing things like building a tiny greenhouse off the southern side of your house, water filtration method. It's very interesting. I like the things that they're talking about. And one of the things that is most useful for people in general who work on computers is the ability to learn how to keep some power whenever your lights go out, at least enough power to save and close down everything you have open for work.
Yep.
So very useful, in my opinion, worth checking out. And ClassicPress news. We do have some ClassicPress news. ClassicPress has released 1.5.0, which brings full support for PHP 8.0, image lazy loading, and more. So you can read up on all the changes by following the link in our show notes here.
Well, so it sounds like they're still doing something.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy to hear that they have managed to at least catch up with PHP. I know that was a huge thing they were super focused on for a while.
Yeah, well, it's a major thing. It's gonna be the source of a lot of income for developers over the next 4 to 8 months, as more and more companies, web hosting companies, force PHP 8 into websites, and it breaks those websites, and there's gonna be a lot of people getting panicked phone calls. Oh my God, my site broke. What happened? Oh, looks like your hosting provider forced you into PHP 8 when you're not ready for it. I remember when PHP 7 was forced in. Same thing happened. I think I was busy. I was busy for 2 or 3 months. I was busy for 2 or 3 months.
Oh, at least you weren't bored.
No, I'm never bored. I'm never bored. There's always something to do.
So if anybody out there would like to join in the ClassicPress poll, you can also find the link to go to that poll in our show notes here. And we have some pretty awesome extras, like the fact that Evernote has been bought out by a company called Bending Spoons.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, dear God.
They were officially sold on January 3rd, so hopefully they will work on fixing the things that the last owners kept breaking.
Yeah, well, hopefully they don't screw it up too badly either, or crank up my cost on it, because, you know, I pay a premium for Evernote, so I can use it on multiple machines.
Yeah, me too. We also have what to expect from AI in 2023. And then some hacking information, like how they are pushing fake Pokemon NFT game to take over Windows devices. That's interesting.
Oh, well, you know.
All kinds of interesting extra stuff here for you to check out in our show notes.
Alrighty. Shall we just dive right in?
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
Oh, that's supposed to be a contest
We're not
jingle.
donate, we're a contest. You got the wrong jingle, man.
I got the wrong jingle. Oh, dear me.
It's a contest. WordPress plugins from A to Z. Whoa! Stop for free!
There we go.
That's okay. It just means we get to listen to that other really cool jingle again one more time.
Yep.
So firstly, we want to thank Simple Giveaways for being totally awesome and providing us with their premium version for our contests. Secondly, we want to thank Steve Goodtime and Brent Matthews for creating our awesome jingle we still use. And we want to thank Charlie for coming to our aid and rescue yet again with yet another fantastic contest. And just a quick reminder to our winner of the last contest, David, be sure to check your email. I sent you a new confirmation email in case you missed the first one over the holidays. But unless you respond, we can't pass on the prize. Our contest for the next 3 weeks is SweetPress Unlimited Lifetime Agency License Giveaway. This thing is valued at $459. SweetPress is a powerful database cleanup plugin for WordPress. So it is a pretty awesome plugin. We've done a review. I believe Charlie did a review of this one as well.
Did he?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's that review somewhere way back. We did that.
Yeah, because we didn't just have one license to give away. We have a couple licenses to give away. So I'll make sure that I pull up his review he did of this and throw it in so that you can listen to his lovely sultry voice give an awesome review.
I'll make sure I bring the review for next week. I don't know where it's at right now.
So if you are interested, I recommend you head on over to wppluginsa2z.com/giveaway and enter for your chance to win. Time to dive into the meat and potatoes of plugin depravity.
Alrighty, let's see what we got here. First plugin I've got for you right off the off the swing and a miss. All right, one more time. Again. First plugin I've got for you right off the bat here is called Frequently Bought Items for WooCommerce. This is a way to help increase your sales as you're going along and people are checking out on your site, or they're visiting stuff on pages on your site. You can use a short code for this one here, and you pop it in different places, and it brings up showing frequently purchased items based on past data of your store. So it's a way to help get some of that stuff moving in there. It's based on machine learning. It's an Ajax add to cart button, and after add to cart, it redirects them to the checkout page or the cart page. So a very useful plugin for it. I'm bringing a lot of WooCommerce stuff as I'm revamping and working on the Oasis's shopping cart website. And so people, not only when they come to buy their hot sauce, they buy the salsa and the spices and all the other cool stuff over at the Oasis. So at any rate, really great plugin. I thought it might be very useful for people to check out that are running a WooCommerce site. It's frequently bought items, and I give it a 4 dragon rating. So go check it out.
And you said, first depravity of the year.
Mm-hmm.
First one I've got is Freesoul Deactivate Plugins, Plugin Manager, and Cleanup. So I actually found this because I noticed Freesoul's Elementor Cleanup plugin. Though I gotta say, I'm kind of in love with this plugin. It is a freemium, so it gives you a free version, but then there's also a premium option. However, in the free version, it gives you everything you need plus some. It's pretty fantastic. Once activated and once installed and activated, you go to the plugins dashboard under Freesoul Deactivate Plugins on your left-hand menu. Here you can see every plugin you have activated and where it is active. There is a guided tour you can take of the plugin, which is very helpful in getting to know the basic menu items and what they do. So what you can do with this is you can go through and deactivate each plugin on each separate page, post, or section of your site. And you are able to check out the effect of deactivating the plugins in each part that you are testing out. You can see an information bar on the preview page at the very bottom, and the information it gives you is number of plugins deactivated, number of database queries, initialization time of this page generation time, and memory usage of this page. While you are playing around with it, trying to speed it up or to help it move faster, have less queries, so on and so forth, you get to see a preview, but it doesn't actually become a permanent thing until you tell it to save changes. So if you end up trying to open it up and you accidentally deactivated a plugin that this page needs in order to work properly, don't worry, just exit out of that, go back and reactivate that plugin that you had just deactivated. So it doesn't actually deactivate the plugin as a whole. It just deactivates the plugin from this page. So that this page, when it loads up, doesn't make the query for the information from a plugin. It's a very useful plugin here, and it works really well. There's a lot of really cool things you can do. Like, until I was testing out this plugin, I had no idea there was even an option to change the firing order of plugins. That was kind of cool and also a bit of a learning curve because I got curious. And there's also an area where you can import or export a list of your favorite plugins, and an option where you can ask it to tell you to suggest unused plugins for pages, posts, etc., which makes it a lot easier. It does take a little bit for it to load up and think and uncheck all the plugins that aren't actually being used, so you don't need to pull the queries for that page or post, but it's totally worth it. And that is all just in the free version. I didn't even go through all the things that they give you in the free version. I just gave you the most useful things that I found. I found this so useful for debugging, speeding up, and forcing plugins to play nicely because you get to separate them. And although this is rarely done for a premium plugin, I am giving this a 5 dragon rating.
Well, it sounds like it gives you enough stuff to make it worthy of 5 dragon as a premium plugin. There's not very many of those out there.
So useful. I've been playing with it off and on like all day.
Yeah.
Well, all of my day, which is started a while ago.
All right. Next one I've got for you here is Mail Logging WP Mail Catcher. This is a plugin. It's a free plugin that you can go check out for logging your emails sent from your WordPress website. And unlike many other mail loggers I've checked out, this one here allows you to also resend emails from the screen of the logs. If you need to resend them, you can resend them in bulk. You can compose emails with controls you're familiar with. Get notified when there's a problem sending your email, and many more items. The biggest thing I've used the mail catchers for, the mail loggers for, is trying to figure out why emails that my site is sending aren't going. Is it the WordPress isn't sending them, or is it that the server is not sending them, or whatever system you use? And it can be good in helping you find issues and problems along the way. Plus, if you miss an email or something, you got to go back and look. You can go back and see what was sent and get that information you need. Anyway, very useful plugin. It's called Mail Logging WP Mail Catcher, and I give it a 4 dragon rating. So go check it out.
That's not really useful. Next one I have is Editor Cleanup for Elementor. Clean up and solve plugin conflicts with Elementor Editor. So this is the first one I noticed when I was looking through things. It's by the same guys, the Freesoul. But what this one is it's completely free add-on. You have to have the Freesoul Deactivate Plugins, Plugin Manager, and Cleanup in order for this one to work. And it's just a free plugin that's an add-on, and it gives you the ability to disable plugins in the outer editor, inner editor, and the editor loading areas of Elementor. A definition for each section is offered in the details area of the WordPress site, of the WordPress.org place where we're looking right now. This plugin seems to be fairly straightforward, though when I was going through it, I realized I wasn't entirely certain which plugins were actually utilized in Elementor editing area, like black hole bots. By deactivating this, will I deactivate some of my security in general because that part of my site will no longer be secure by black hole bots? I mean, I don't really know. To be safe, I just left it on and moved on to other plugins I know aren't used, like Dinosaur Game. Trying this out on my sandbox, I did notice a difference in loading up of Elementor Editor. Enough of a difference on my sandbox where I don't have a lot of content or a lot going on, so pretty sure it will make a larger difference where it's running much slower on a site. Like if you notice you're having problems with that, try something like this to make it so that when Elementor Editor isn't making so many queries, so it's not loading so much information every time that you're trying to use it. It's a completely free plugin and seems to work pretty well. I rate it at 5 dragons.
Very cool. I'm actually going to give that one a try on my on the Oasis. See if I can improve Elementor there. All righty then. I guess we get to do this again.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
We interrupt the meat and potatoes of Plugin Depravity Edition to bring you our donation segment and to thank our producers. Remember, this is your show. We're just the worker bees here. Don't forget to restock the show's larders with some time, treasure, or talent donations. If you need more information on how to do that, you can check out our site, wppluginsa2z.com, and right up in the top menu, you will see each one under donations. So special thanks goes to freelance producers. They are always showing up at unexpected times. These producers are really part of the reason why our name is getting out there. So thank you very much for, showing up when you feel like it, I guess. Backroom producers hanging out in the lounge. Always about the place, consuming all the coffee and donuts. These producers earn it by helping out with our contests, artwork, site organization, notes, questions, suggestions, licenses, and by hiring us. Your time and talent donations are equal to your treasure donations of under $50, and we would not be here without you. And our War Room producers. With their donations of $50 or more, these producers receive a few extra perks. An official A to Z handle of their choice, a spotlight in that week's show for a short speech, an official executive producership credit, and seeing the magic as it happens up in the War Room before we send the show out into the netherworld of the internets. Thank you for sticking by us and helping to keep the backroom producers stocked in coffee and donuts. There is a further definition of each one of these perks in our show notes. So go check that out if you think you might be interested. Thank you. Now back to the meat and potatoes of Plugin Depravity Edition.
Alrighty, well, let's get to it then. All right, the last one I've got here for you today is it's BOGO time. Buy one, get one free. Set it up on your WooCommerce site. Very simple, straightforward plugin to help you create BOGO time. Very simple and straightforward. Just go in and pick your product. Customize your own buy one, get one free offers. Straightforward, easy, simple, free plugin. No ads, no upsells. Just, hey, if you buy one of these, get one free. Way to increase your sales, People are weird. They like BOGO sales. They end up buying 2 or 3 of something because it's buy one, get one free. So I've seen it. Anyway, it's a great idea. Something, again, I may try to use on the Oasis store. And I tripped across it and went, yep, let's add that one to my list of WooCommerce plugins to try different things for the Oasis this next year to increase sales. Go check it out. It's buy one, get one free for WooCommerce, and I give it a 4-dragon rating.
And the last one I've got for today is Lazy Load Control for Elementor. Remove the lazy load attribute from specific images in Elementor. So I thought this was an interesting plug and play type plugin. In order to choose Do Not Lazy Load, you change the option on the edit area of the chosen widget in Elementor image widget options. You just go there and choose Do Not Lazy Load. So like if you're building a page and you are working on image, they have the little editing options on the left-hand side there in your Elementor area. You just go down to the bottom of it and you tell it to do not choose lazy load. Now, I'm not really sure. I wasn't really sure if it would actually do much, since as far as I understand, using lazy load is supposed to compress your images and speed up your site. I personally did not really see much of a difference on my sandbox when I tested this out, although I would be interested to see how it works on a busier site full of content. I would love to hear back from someone who has either tried this out or will try it out on their busy site with a lot of content. What do you think about removing the lazy load? Do you think it would help to improve speed?
Lazy load is there to improve speed of a website by delaying the image loading on your page. Instead of trying to dump it all at once, it dumps it a little at a time as you're scrolling down the page. It's to delay it, because the idea is to get all the painted stuff in, all of the content in before the images are loaded, because the images are generally the biggest things to load, and they slow down the page load time.
Okay.
So the idea is with lazy load is to improve that speed by delaying the download of the images. So I've had off and on success with lazy load over the years since it was first introduced.
All right. Well, I rate this at 3 dragons because it's neither great, but it also doesn't suck.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there you go. Go check it out, folks.
And ClassicPress. ClassicPress is at Crossroads right now, which we've talked about a couple times throughout the show. Not sure if they're going to be sticking around. Hopefully they do. We do not have any ClassicPress information to really cover except for what we already have, which is a bit of news and what's going on with them right now. We do have a ClassicPress resource section to check out. And this information, it's like fruitcake. It doesn't wither away, and it will still be good years down the road, so long as they stick around. And it's great for learning. If you are interested in ClassicPress, you can go to our show notes and check out this section, the ClassicPress resource section. Go learn a little about it, see what you think about it. We don't have any questions, notes, or feedback from our producers out there this week. Though we do have some information on how to be part of your own production. You can use us to get yourself out there by allowing us to interview you. Set it up so that we are on your schedule. Send in plugin reviews or suggestions for plugin reviews. And you can send in questions or comments, or both. Stuff and reminders about stuff. So I don't have anything written down here. Is there anything that I forgot to write down for reminders?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
All right, cool. Then we have nothing to remind you about. Not right now.
All right. Well, we'll make a reminder to check on reminders. All right. Well, that takes us to the plugins we covered today. The plugins I covered was frequently bought items, which I gave a 4 to. Mail logging, WP Mail Catcher, which I gave a 4 to. And then the buy one, get one free for WooCommerce, which I gave a 4 to.
And I covered, my goodness, I have long names this week. Freesoul Deactivate Plugins, Plugin Manager, and Cleanup, which I rated at 5. Editor Cleanup for Elementor, clean up and solve plugin conflicts with Elementor Editor, which I rated at 5. And Lazy Load Control for Elementor, remove the lazy load attribute from specific images in Elementor, which I rated at 3.
Very good.
I remember there are a bunch of different ways you can support the show. I mean, we have the time and talent donation that you can give us, which you can offer through our site or by reaching out to us. But we also have some other ways that you can donate. There's always a donation, the treasure donation that we very much appreciate. You can subscribe to us, subscribe to our newsletter, hit the like button on the YouTube, or check us out at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, iTunes Store. You know, we even have a Facebook. So go and subscribe to us. That will also help us out just a little bit. That would be just a little bit of time donation there. And if you want to get a hold of us, we do have a physical address of brick and mortar where you can mail things to if you do that kind of thing. Although you'll also find our emails so you can get a hold of us directly here in the show notes. Question and answer time.
Oh, yeah.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
If anyone out there has any questions that you'd like to have asked here on the show, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and we'll see if we can stump my dad. Now for my questions. First one, when using FTP, I noticed that oftentimes you will get a random target file already exists notification, even though you are uploading this file for the first time into an empty folder. I also noticed that more often than not, the source file is actually smaller than the target file. What is that about, and why does it happen? And connected to that, is choosing the option of overwrite file the right option if both are the same file, even though the source file is smaller?
Okay. I've never really figured out why it happens. It's been happening to me for years. I'm talking years.
Yes.
Very long time. And yeah, it's always the same. My best guess on it is that it's uploading files so fast that it uploads a part file and it didn't work, so it's trying to re-upload the file. And it says, hey, wait, the file's already there. So I don't know. That's my best guess on it. I have no idea why it happens. And yeah, I always just choose overwrite the file and boom, go. Now there's an option in FileZilla where not only overwrite the file, but apply this to all the files in this particular batch of files you're uploading.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that so I don't have to keep clicking the overwrite button because there's going to be a bunches of them. Happens every time I upload and download without fail. I've just come to accept it as a quirk of the FTP, and I just move along with it. And that's all I can do with it. It's the only answer I have for that. And yes, it's something that I've been dealing with for years. And
why do you think the source file is smaller than the target file?
I have no idea. I don't have that problem of it. I usually have the opposite effect. The target file is smaller than the file I'm trying to copy.
I've been paying very close attention because I've been trying to unravel this riddle for a while.
Yeah, well,
and it seems to jump back and forth.
You'll have to go to the forums and see if anybody's bothered to take the time to unravel it.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to really get it. The best answer that most people can come up with is that the server disconnected while they were trying to do this file, and so it started all over again, and this time the file size is different because the first time it started getting the stuff in there, it did it wrong or incomplete.
Yeah, that's a very good guess. That's a very good guess at it too. I hadn't thought about the server disconnection because it's the internet connections. Because if you send a letter across town, it only makes a couple of stops. It goes to, you drop it in a post office box, they take it to your local post office, they go take it to a sorting facility, they bring it to a post office again, then they give it to a mailman, he delivers it. If you send something on the internet, you should do a tracking on how many hops a piece of data makes on the internet. Sometimes if you want to send a piece of data, like we're talking 2 ends of the island right now, but our data is not traveling 2 ends of the island. Some of our data is traveling to Hawaii and back to the island. Some of our data is traveling down to the States, then back to the island. Some of our data is making a couple hops, skip, and a jump around the globe into the satellite and back down. It's like the data makes so many hops, and it's not always the same hops. And for each piece of data, it's really kind of the internet is an interesting critter and how it ships data around.
It's entertaining.
So, and that's probably the same thing with FTP. Hey, Ray.
I have a feeling this is one of those things I'm probably going to keep picking away at the threads of until I finally find the answer.
Oh, have fun with that. I just didn't feel it was worthy of my brain power to chase it down.
It bugs me.
Obviously it bugs you. So when you finally chase it all down, write a big long article so that everyone else out there that's looking for the answer can come to your website and find the answer.
Maybe. Hendian said, could different file sizes also be due to disk compression on one end, at least for smaller source files compared to target files?
That could be it too. See, we got so many variables in this that it's,
Can you define that for me? Like, I'm not fully understanding.
Oh, well, if you're uploading a file, maybe it's being compressed as it's sent, or maybe you're sending a compressed file and it's being unzipped at the other end. You know, it could be the internet compressing it down. There's a lot of variables there too. The variables get insane. It's like, that's why I didn't devote any brain power to it whatsoever. It's like, oh, here's my solution, fix, click, 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 and continue on my merry way. And then I check, oh, all the files are uploaded, everything works the way it's supposed to. Data went the way it was supposed to.
Hendian said, I've not had dupe file issue with WSFTP or WinSCP.
Yeah. It seems to be a FileZilla issue more than anything else. He's right. I haven't used WSFTP in years because I don't like the way it works, and WinSCP I haven't used in years either. So FileZilla I just like better, and it does seem to have more of a problem. It could be a FileZilla issue, something in FileZilla that causes it to transfer the data incorrectly.
Well, I suppose it's a good thing that it ends up transferring the correct data after.
As long as it transfers the correct data in the end, I really don't care.
All right, my next question is, why are some WordPress admin logins so freaking slow? And how is it that the admin login is so freaking slow, but the rest of the site is not? And once you make it into the admin dashboard area, nothing there moves slowly either. Why?
I've never chased that one down either. That's another one. It has to have to do with accessing the database, checking something when you've given it the passwords. It happens on random sites, and it'll happen on one site. It'll randomly. Sometimes it'll take forever for it to log in. Other times it's like bang. So another one that I just never bothered to chase down. I don't have an answer for that. There you go. You found it. You found a question I don't have an answer for.
Excellent.
It's only taken you 3 years. No, how long have you been doing the Q&A? 2 years? 2 years now.
About 3 years, I think.
Did you start it from the very beginning when I brought you on the show? You've only been on the show for like 4 years on the show?
No, 3 years.
3 years, yeah. You didn't start in the
So
beginning.
I guess about 2 years is how long I've been asking questions for.
And you finally found one that I don't have an answer to because the reason I don't have an answer to it is I didn't feel it was worthy of my brain to chase the answer for it. Because it's mostly irrelevant. It's like, okay, so it takes you a little longer to log in. Does everything work right when you get in there? Yeah. All right. Well, don't stress it, man. It could be a slow internet connection day.
But it's like having a missing puzzle piece.
Yes, and you have fun with these missing puzzle pieces.
Hendian added, I currently use WinSCP. Maybe I'm a dinosaur.
Well, you could be a dinosaur. But, the thing is all developers, all coders, we have our favorite tools. And once we're settled into our favorite tools, we rarely ever change unless our favorite tool breaks. The reason I ended up going to FileZilla was I had problems with WSFTP and WinSCP. Something wasn't working right one day. I couldn't connect to my servers with them for some reason, and I found FileZilla, and it worked perfectly every single time without fail, so I turfed the other ones. So,
yeah, FileZilla always works. It's just weird.
It is weird. It is weird. They did break it for a little while, and they were pissing me off for a little while. They broke it badly for a little while, and I almost abandoned them. But then they fixed it again. So
okay. Oh, I got a couple more questions for my dad just after the closing credits.
All right.
For those listening elsewhere, you will have to make your way over to the YouTubes.
Yes, go over to the YouTubes and check out the rest of the questions. We'll let our girl take us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty then. There we have it. As I choke on things.
So my next question for you is, when making a full site backup in cPanel, you can choose the email backup completion notification is sent to.
Mm-hmm.
What reasons would there be for not receiving that notification for a site backup once the backup is complete?
If you don't want another email in your inbox.
No, I mean, say you put your email in there
Mm-hmm.
and you tell it to go.
Yeah.
And then you just don't get a notification.
Oh, that would be that the server couldn't find your email address, so you typoed your email address for some reason. Happens to me every once in a while.
So
Usually
even if like it's the same email as always and you've always had...
Well, then for some reason the server didn't send the email properly.
You know, what would cause that?
You got me. You know, it could be that when it went to send the email, it did a DNS check, and for some reason it couldn't find your domain briefly, and in that moment it just went, yeah, screw it. You know, I some of these things on the internet that happen are just glitches that, you know, you can spend hours chasing them down, but in the end, are they worth the time and effort to chase down? You know?
Okay, well, a question I didn't write down, but is connected to that. How do you know whether or not the backup is fully complete?
Oh, you just go back and check on it from time to time.
Okay, but I mean, what are you looking for?
You're looking for a download link. Because
That's
if you go back to the page to create a backup, it shows you where you can download it.
Mm-hmm.
And that link doesn't appear until the backup is complete.
Oh, well, that's perfect then.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, it's really quite easy to find out if the download's complete.
Quite easy, except at a complete loss until someone tells you or until you see it yourself, because I'm always using FTP, so I didn't even know.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can download, because you can download the backup from there. It's just faster via FTP than it is through a browser.
Also good to know.
Yeah, that's why.
All right.
That's why I download via FTP versus a browser, because it's faster.
I knew you could download from the cPanel. I've just never tried it or looked into how to do it. I just knew it was possible.
Mm-hmm. Your browser's just a slower FTP connection.
So my last question of the day: when making a subdomain through cPanel, it seems pretty straightforward for making it and transferring all the files over through phpMyAdmin, at least for those who know what the heck I'm talking about. However, I am a little lost on separating the subdomain from the main domain. How do you do that? And also, why do you do that?
I'm not understanding the question.
Okay, so allow me to explain what I did that completely broke one of my sandboxes. So I made the subdomain. Mm-hmm. Everything was properly put in. Everything was working correctly, except that my subdomain, I couldn't do anything on it because all it did was just lead to my main site.
Yeah.
So I tried to separate my subdomain from my main domain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why I was trying to do is because I wanted to have a place to experiment, to try something new. Also, I was just wanting to know how to make a subdomain properly. But when I tried to separate it, I ended up making it so that every time that I tried to go onto the site, it couldn't figure out whether it's supposed to go to the main domain or the subdomain, and it was flipping back and forth in the little lower hand corner there. It was flipping back and forth between two, and then it just timed out.
Sounds like whatever you did, you ended up messing up the DNS records.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how I did that.
Well,
That's a conversation for later, though.
Yeah.
But my question is, how do you actually separate the two domains so that when you go to the subdomain, it's like a separate site?
Oh, well, you have to have the subdomain, all the content put into the subdomains directory, and you create a new site in the subdomain, basically, and then to go to the subdomain, you put subdomain.mydomain.com. You know, that takes you to the subdomain, which is separate from the primary domain. It's not that hard, but it sounds like somewhere along the way, whatever you did caused the DNS records to get scrambled, and it's pointing to the wrong places. And I can't answer the what or why until I actually look at the DNS records and the other setup on there through the cPanel to see what has gone wrong with it.
Well, you're probably not going to see much now because I thought maybe just deleting my subdomain would fix the issue. Now my domain points to a completely different site on the same server.
Can you still get to the cPanel on the server?
Yep.
Okay, so then your domain doesn't point there. Something has been truly messed up in your DNS records, and it sounds like you've impacted the records in a major way. And I'm going to have to take a look at it to see what I can unscramble here.
Had a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, that's how you learn the most, is when you break it badly. And
I really broke it.
And then try to unbreak it. That's when you really learn, is when you're unbreaking something that you broke.
Yeah. This, my dear friends and listeners, is why we do these things in sandboxes, because it doesn't matter that I completely screwed up the DNS things and everything in my sandbox.
Yeah.
Oh, Hemdian asked, do you need a multi-site feature in WordPress to use a subdomain?
No, you can still use a subdomain, and then go into your records and repoint it to where you want it to be pointed to. No, if you're trying to build out multi-sites, you do need multi-site WordPress. If you're trying to build a multi-site website, and I highly recommend against building a WordPress multi-site unless you're committed to spending hours and hours, during the week just making sure it doesn't break. Multi-site is not very stable. I've off and on over the years, every time I go back to it and think, oh, it'll work this time, it works beautifully for about a week or two, and then you start getting traffic to it, and it takes a lot of work to keep it functioning cleanly and correctly. I think I only have one multi-site that's actually working the way it's supposed to, but it's a very clean site, has almost no plugins. And that's the way that's the only way to keep multi-site working, and you don't want to add a whole bunch of shit to it.
So few possible toys added into the site.
Yeah, that's the only way to keep multi-site functioning correctly. But no, you don't need multi-site feature to use a subdomain. I use subdomains all the time. In fact, I've got a couple pointing to the Oasis. I can't remember what I use them for. I use them for directing people to specific pages. So.
All right, well, that is the end of my questions. At least I stumped you once.
Yeah,
first time.
yeah,
I'm
first
excited.
Time. Yeah, well, it's only because it wasn't worth my brain power to learn the answer to.
Well, apparently it is worth your brain power.
Yeah, well, so be it. All right. Well,
I'm holding this over your head forever.
I'm sure you will. You will do that. Remember that one time? Just that one time? Yeah.
Hey, one time is more than none.
It is. All righty, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. Thanks, Hemdian, for joining us. Happy New Year's to you, Hemdian. Hope you had a good holidays and Christmas. Happy New Year's and all that good jazz. I think we will call it a day at that. Let's have a little music to play us on out of here. Off we go.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder, we're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning, Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder, we're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder, we're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder, we're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we've got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Oh no. Obviously, we just lost this.